You know that feeling when you check your bank account and you're like, wait, where did all my money go? And you scroll through your transactions and there's just this parade of small charges. $9.99 here, $14.99 there, $4.99 somewhere else. And individually, none of them seem like a big deal. But together, they're quietly draining hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars from your accounts every single year. And the worst part, most of us have completely lost track of what we're even paying for. My name is Grant, and I spend way too much time thinking about the subscription economy and how it's fundamentally rewired the way companies extract money from our wallets. If you're someone who's ever looked at a random charge in your credit card statement and thought, what even is that? Or if you're pretty sure you're paying for stuff you don't use but you keep putting off canceling it, hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up because today we're going to talk about something that's costing the average American over $2,000 a year without them even realizing it. Here's the thing. We are living through the largest transfer of wealth from consumers to corporations in modern history, and it's happening $5.99 at a time. And I'm not being dramatic here. According to a recent study by West Monroe, the average American spends about $219 per month on subscriptions. But here's what's wild. When those same people were asked to estimate how much they spend, they guessed around $86. Think about that. People are off by more than 60%. They're spending 2.5 times more than they think they are. Now, look, subscriptions aren't inherently evil. I have subscriptions. You probably have subscriptions you actually use and get value from. That's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is a deliberately engineered system designed to make you forget you're paying, make it difficult to cancel, and keep extracting money from you long after you've stopped getting value. And the companies doing this, they're very, very good at it. Let me show you how this actually works. Let's say you sign up for a streaming service. It's $9.99 a month, you watch a show you wanted to see, and then you just forget about it. You're not using it anymore, but it's still there, quietly charging your card every month. $9.99 doesn't feel like a lot, right? It's less than lunch. So even when you do notice it, your brain goes, I'll cancel it later. Except later never comes. And here's what most people don't realize. That's not a bug. That's the entire business model. There's a term for this in the industry. It's called passive subscribers, or sometimes zombie subscribers. These are people who are paying for something they're not using and have basically forgotten about. And companies have built their entire revenue projections around these people. According to research from the subscription management platform Recurly, the average subscription business loses about 9% of its revenue to what they call involuntary churn, which is just a fancy way of saying failed payments and expired credit cards. But you know what they gain? About 15 to 30% of their revenue from people who are subscribed but inactive. Let that sink in. For many subscription businesses, up to a third of their revenue comes from people who aren't even using the product. Now you might be thinking, okay, Grant, but I'm pretty organized. I keep track of my subscriptions. And maybe you do. But here's where it gets interesting. The subscription economy isn't just about streaming services and gym memberships anymore. It's everywhere. Your phone is probably running on a subscription. Your software? Subscriptions. Your car? There are features in your car that are probably subscription-based now. BMW tried to charge people a subscription for heated seats. Heated seats! A physical feature that's already installed in your car that they wanted you to pay monthly to activate. Let me give you a real example of how insidious this has become. I was talking to a friend recently who's a graphic designer, and she went through her subscriptions, not just the obvious ones, but everything. She found she was paying for Adobe Creative Cloud, which she uses every day. That's fine. But she was also paying for an old Dropbox account she forgot about because she now uses Google Drive through work. She was paying for Grammarly Premium, even though she barely writes anymore. She had Spotify and Apple Music because she switched at some point and forgot to cancel the old one. She had a Peloton membership from the pandemic that she hadn't used in 8 months. She was paying for a meditation app she used exactly twice. And here's the kicker. She had a subscription to a stock photo service from a freelance project 3 years ago that she completely forgot existed. When she added it all up, she was spending $374 per month on subscriptions, over $4,000 a year. And she considered herself financially responsible. She had a budget, she tracked her spending, she was saving for retirement, but these subscriptions had just accumulated, like digital barnacles on the hull of her financial ship. Here's what most people don't realize about why this happens. It's not because you're lazy or irresponsible, it's because every single step of the subscription process is psychologically engineered to make this exact outcome inevitable. Think about how easy it is to sign up for something. One click. Maybe you don't even need to enter your credit card because Apple Pay or Google Pay already has it saved. The whole process takes literally 15 seconds. But canceling? Oh, that's a different story. I tried to cancel a subscription recently, and the process was genuinely infuriating. First, there was no cancel button anywhere obvious on the website. I had to Google how to cancel and the company name. Then I had to log in on a desktop browser because you couldn't do it from the mobile app. Then I had to navigate through 4 different menu screens. Then, and this is my favorite part, I had to chat with a customer service representative who asked me why I wanted to cancel and offered me 3 months at 50% off if I stayed. When I said no thanks, they asked if I was sure. When I said yes, they told me I could pause my subscription instead of canceling. When I said I wanted to cancel, they reminded me of all the features I'd be losing. The entire process took 23 minutes. 23 minutes to cancel something that took 15 seconds to sign up for. That's not an accident. That's called dark patterns in user experience design, and it's completely intentional. They make signing up frictionless and canceling deliberately painful because they know that friction works. They know that a huge percentage of people who start the cancellation process will give up halfway through because it's too annoying or time-consuming. And it works. According to a survey by C+R Research, about 42% of consumers forget they're subscribed to a service they no longer use. 42%. And about half of consumers said they continue paying for subscriptions they don't use simply because canceling is too much of a hassle. Companies are literally banking on your annoyance threshold being lower than your willingness to waste money. Now, look, here's where the math gets really ugly. Let's say you have 5 subscriptions you're not really using. Maybe you use them once in a while, but not enough to justify the cost. And let's say they average $12 a month each. That's $60 a month, which doesn't sound terrible. But over a year, that's $720. Over 5 years, that's $3,600. Over a decade, that's $7,200. And here's the thing that actually keeps me up at night. If you had invested that $60 a month in an index fund averaging a 7% annual return over those 10 years, you'd have over $10,000. You're not just losing the subscription cost, you're losing the opportunity cost of what that money could have grown into. And most people have way more than 5 unused subscriptions. Think about it. How many streaming services do you have? Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, HBO Max, Amazon Prime, Peacock, Apple TV+. Are you actually using them all every month? Or do you use 2 regularly and the rest are just sitting there because you watched one show 6 months ago and forgot to cancel? How many app subscriptions are on your phone right now that you haven't opened in weeks? That premium version of an app you thought you'd use all the time, but you used 2 times and now it's buried on page 3 of your home screen somewhere? Here's what most people don't realize. The subscription economy is designed around something called a negative option billing. That's the technical term for automatically charging you until you actively cancel. And the reason this is so profitable for companies is because of something psychologists call the status quo bias. People have a strong preference for things to stay the same. Taking action, even when that action would benefit us, requires mental energy. And when we're busy and tired and overwhelmed, which is most of the time, we default to inaction. We default to letting things continue as they are. Companies know this. They've studied this. They've built their entire business models around exploiting this quirk of human psychology, and it's working spectacularly well. The subscription economy is now worth over $650 billion annually, and it's projected to grow to $1.5 trillion by 2030. That money is coming from somewhere. It's coming from us. Now you might be thinking, okay, Grant, you've thoroughly depressed me. What am I supposed to do about this? And that's exactly what we're going to talk about now. Because here's the good news. Once you understand how the system works, you can beat it. You can take back your money. And I'm going to give you a step-by-step process to do exactly that. First, you need to do a subscription audit. And I mean a real one, not the thing where you glance at your credit card statement and think, yeah, that looks about right. Here's what you do. Set aside an hour. I know that sounds like a lot, but trust me, this is going to be one of the most valuable hours you spend this year. Pull up your bank statements and credit card statements for the last 3 months. Go through every single recurring charge. Write them all down, not just the ones you remember, all of them. You're going to find stuff you completely forgot about. Everyone does. While you're doing this, check your email. Search for terms like subscription, recurring, monthly payment, renewal. You'll find confirmation emails for subscriptions you didn't even know you still had. Check your phone settings. On iPhone, go to Settings, then your name at the top, then Subscriptions. On Android, open the Google Play Store, tap your profile icon, then Payments and Subscriptions. You will be shocked at what you find there. Once you have your complete list, it's time to be brutally honest with yourself. For each subscription, ask yourself 3 questions. 1, have I used it in the last 30 days? 2, will I definitely use it in the next 30 days? And 3, does the value I get from this exceed the cost? If the answer to any of these questions is no, cancel it. Not later, right now. Go do it. Yes, even if the cancellation process is annoying. That's exactly what they're counting on. Don't let them win. Here's a framework I use that might help. I call it the cost per use calculation. Take your monthly subscription cost and divide it by the number of times you actually use it in a month. So if you're paying $15 for a streaming service and you watch something on it maybe twice a month, that's $7.50 per use. Is that worth it to you? Maybe it is, but now you're making an informed decision instead of just letting it ride on autopilot. And look, I'm not saying you need to cancel everything and live like a monk. If you genuinely use something and it brings you value, keep it. But be intentional about it. The goal here isn't deprivation, it's awareness. It's about making sure your money is going towards things you've actively chosen, not things you've passively forgotten about. This is where it gets interesting, though. Even after you cancel everything you don't use, you're not done. Because the subscription economy is constantly trying to get you back. You need a system to prevent this from happening again. Here's what I do. I have a note on my phone titled Active Subscriptions. Every time I sign up for something new, I add it to the list with the date I signed up and the monthly cost. Then I have a recurring reminder on the first of every month to review that list. It takes me maybe 5 minutes. I look at each item and ask myself if I'm still using it. If not, I cancel it immediately. Another strategy, use virtual credit cards. Services like Privacy or the virtual card numbers from your credit card company let you create unique card numbers for each subscription. You can set spending limits on them or even make them single use. This way, when a free trial is about to convert to a paid subscription, you can just delete that virtual card number and the payment won't go through. You don't have to remember to cancel because the payment method automatically stops working. And here's a pro tip. Never, ever sign up for annual subscriptions unless you're absolutely certain you'll use them for the entire year. Companies love to offer annual plans because they lock you in and get a big chunk of money up front. They'll usually offer a discount, like pay for 10 months, get 12 months, and it seems like a good deal. But if you stop using it after 6 months, you've just thrown away money you can't get back. Monthly subscriptions give you flexibility. You can cancel any time without feeling like you're wasting money you've already paid. Now look, I know some of you are thinking, Grant, this seems like a lot of work just to save a few bucks, and I get it. But here's the thing, it's not a few bucks. For most people, doing a proper subscription audit and cutting the stuff they don't use saves between $100 and $300 a month. That's $1,200 to $3,600 a year. That's a vacation. That's a used car. That's a significant contribution to your retirement account. And it's money you're currently spending on things you don't even use. Let me put this in perspective with some real math. Let's say you're 25 years old right now, and you do a subscription audit that saves you $150 a month. Instead of letting that money disappear into subscriptions you don't use, you invest it in a retirement account. If you do that every month until you're 65, assuming a 7% average annual return, you'll have over $350,000. $350,000 from just being more intentional about your subscriptions. And here's what most people don't realize. It's not about the money itself. I mean, yes, the money matters, but there's something deeper going on here. Every subscription you're paying for that you don't use is a small source of stress. It's clutter in your financial life. It's a thing you have to remember and keep track of. It's a tiny drain on your mental energy. When you cancel all that stuff, you're not just saving money. You're buying back peace of mind. You're simplifying your life. You're taking control. The subscription economy works because it turns us into passive consumers. It makes us forget that every single month we're making a choice to spend money on these services. We're not making an active choice, we're just letting the default happen. And that's exactly what these companies want. They want us on autopilot. They want us to forget. They profit from our passivity. But you don't have to be passive. You can be intentional. You can be in control of where your money goes. And it starts with something as simple as going through your subscriptions and asking yourself, do I actually want this? Not, did I want this 6 months ago when I signed up? Not, might I want this someday in the future? Do you want it right now? Does it serve you right now? Because if it doesn't, you should cancel it right now. Here's my challenge to you. Before you go to bed tonight, I want you to cancel one subscription you're not using.
Just one. Don't overthink it. You know which one it is. That streaming service you haven't opened in 2 months, that app you thought would change your life but you used 3 times, that gym membership you've been meaning to cancel since last summer. Cancel it right now. It'll take 5 minutes, maybe 10 if they make it annoying, and you'll immediately start saving money every single month. And then, this weekend, set aside an hour and do the full audit. Go through everything, make your list, be honest with yourself, cancel everything that doesn't serve you, and then set up a system to make sure this doesn't happen again, because this isn't a one-time thing. The subscription economy is always trying to get you. New subscriptions will pop up, free trials will convert to paid plans, companies will launch new services they think you need. You have to stay vigilant. But here's the beautiful thing. Once you do this once, it gets so much easier. You'll know what you have. You'll know what you're paying for. You'll be in control. And every month when you look at your bank account and see that extra $100 or $200 or $300 that's not disappearing into subscriptions, you'll remember why you did this. The subscription economy is draining billions of dollars from consumers every year. It's engineered to make you forget, to make you passive, to make canceling just annoying enough that you don't bother. But you're not going to let that happen anymore. You're going to take control. You're going to be intentional, and you're going to make sure your money is going towards things you've actively chosen, things that bring you value, things that serve you. So go cancel that subscription, do the audit, take back control. Your future self will thank you. And if this video helped you realize you're spending way more on subscriptions than you thought, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Unlike those other subscriptions, this one's free, and I promise the value you get will actually exceed the cost. I'll see you in the next video.